Ever notice how some men never chase women, yet somehow women can't stop chasing them? They don't beg for attention. They don't compete. They just exist differently. Their silence has weight. Their confidence speaks louder than any pickup line. It's not luck. It's not money. It's psychology. The kind that makes women invest first, respect deeper, and chase harder. And that's exactly what this video is about. Because once you understand how men who don't chase actually think, everything about the way you deal with women changes. The way you talk, the way you move, even the kind of women you attract. So stay locked in because I'm about to break down the 8 psychological traits that make a man irresistible without saying a word. Let's get into it. 1, they have options. Here's the brutal truth most men don't want to hear. The guy who doesn't chase can afford not to. He has options, and options give a man something every woman can feel. When you know you can walk away, everything about your energy changes. Your words, your tone, your body language. Even your silence says, I'm not desperate. And women pick up on that instantly. The men who chase believe this lie: if I lose her, I'll never find someone like her again. That's not love, that's scarcity. And scarcity kills attraction faster than anything else. A man with options lives in abundance. He knows losing one woman doesn't mean losing love. He understands his life has value with or without her. That's why, when she pulls away, he doesn't panic. He doesn't overthink, doesn't double text, doesn't beg for clarity. He simply pulls back and lets the silence do the talking. Because here's the irony: the moment a woman senses you can live without her, that's when she starts chasing. So ask yourself, are you living from abundance or fear? Because that mindset alone determines whether you attract or repel. But here's where most men fail. They think abundance means having multiple women. It doesn't. Abundance means you're fulfilled within yourself, your purpose, your peace, your progress, and that's what makes you powerful. And that's exactly why the next point matters even more. 2, they focus on improving themselves. While most men are chasing women, these men are chasing greatness. They've realized something simple. When you become the kind of man every woman secretly desires, you won't have to chase anyone. Women don't fall for words, they fall for energy. The energy of a man who's busy building himself. A man with ambition, discipline, and direction gives off a frequency she can't ignore. Let me break it down. When you're focused on the gym, on your business, on leveling up, your attention shifts inward. You stop seeking validation because your progress is validation. And that silent confidence, it's magnetic. When you focus on improving yourself, you automatically filter out women who are only drawn to your attention. Because attention is cheap, but growth, that's rare. So instead of asking, how do I make her like me? Start asking, how do I become a man she can't forget? Every rep, every book, every goal achieved builds the kind of aura that money or status can't buy. And here's the truth. When a man's obsessed with his evolution, he becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability breeds curiosity. But here's where most guys mess up. They build to impress, not to improve. And that's the difference between attraction and validation. Improve for you, not for her. Because when you build for yourself, she'll naturally want to be part of that world. And that brings us to the next trait, one that flips the entire game on its head. 3, they let women invest first. This one right here separates boys from men. Most guys think, if I want her, I need to show it first. So they overtext, overcompliment, overgive. But what they don't realize is when you invest too soon, you teach her that she doesn't have to. Men who don't chase understand human psychology. People value what they work for. If you hand her your attention on a silver platter, she won't respect it. So instead, these men pull back, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. They let women make the first emotional move. She calls, he replies. She plans the date, he leads. But he never gives more energy than he receives. Why? Because the man who doesn't chase forces her to earn his consistency. And when a woman invests first, when she puts in effort, initiates, checks in, she becomes emotionally tied. This isn't about manipulation, it's about balance. A relationship without mutual effort always collapses. So let her invest. Let her wonder if you're interested. Let her work for your attention, not because you're playing games, but because you respect your energy. And that's why the next point matters even more, because it's how these men keep her thinking about them long after they walk away. 4, they disappear at the right moment. Now, this one requires emotional strength most men simply don't have. The men who don't chase know the power of absence. They understand that sometimes the best way to get attention is to withdraw it. You see, women are emotional thinkers. When you disappear, her mind starts working overtime. Did I lose him? Did I say something wrong? Why did he stop replying? And that curiosity turns into obsession. But here's the key. These men don't disappear to manipulate, they disappear to maintain mystery. Mystery keeps attraction alive. Most guys ruin it by overcommunicating. They want constant reassurance, constant contact, constant validation. But when you're always available, she gets used to you. You stop being a challenge. You stop being exciting. The man who disappears at the right time understands emotional tension. He gives just enough to spark desire, then steps back and lets her mind do the rest. Because when she starts wondering where you are, that's when attraction deepens. That's when she starts chasing. So the next time you feel that urge to text, let silence build pressure. Because silence, my brother, can speak louder than 1,000 words. 5. They're unpredictable. If there's one thing that kills attraction faster than anything else, it's predictability. When a woman can predict your every move, every text, every reaction, she gets comfortable. And comfort, my brother, is the enemy of desire. Men who don't chase, they understand the art of mystery. They keep her emotionally guessing, not through manipulation, but through authenticity. One day they're present and engaging. The next, they're focused on their grind. Nowhere to be found. Not because they're playing games, but because they actually have a life outside of her. See, unpredictability isn't about being inconsistent. It's about being multidimensional. You're not just a man who texts her good morning. You're a man with a mission, a plan, and priorities. You might be calm and focused today, then bold and playful tomorrow. It keeps her guessing. It keeps her intrigued. It keeps her chasing. Because here's the truth. Women don't fall for the men they understand. They fall for the men who make them feel. But here's where most men fail. They mistake being unpredictable for being toxic. You don't ignore her out of pride. You don't vanish to punish. You simply live a full life that doesn't revolve around her. And when she realizes she can't quite figure you out, she'll want to. That curiosity will drive her right back into your orbit. And that's why the next point matters even more. Because once she's intrigued, she'll test you, and how you value your time determines whether she respects you or loses interest forever. 6. Their time is valuable. Every man says his time is valuable, but only a few live like it. Men who don't chase, their schedules are sacred. They don't drop everything for a text. They don't cancel their plans for a last minute maybe. They don't sit staring at their phones waiting for a reply. They're too busy living. A man who values his time carries himself differently. He moves with purpose. He walks with calm confidence because he knows if you want access to his time, you have to earn it. Women test this constantly. She cancels last minute. She replies late. She throws in a little attitude just to see how you'll react. And most men fail the test. They forgive instantly. They double text. They beg to reschedule. But the man who doesn't chase, he simply says, all good. Reach out when you're serious. And then he gets back to work. That's not ego. That's self-respect. When a woman realizes your time is expensive, not because you say so, but because you act like it, she values it more. Scarcity creates desire. Abundance of time creates boredom. So every time you reply too fast, every time you make yourself overly available, remember this. You're silently telling her your time isn't worth much. But here's the catch. When you live like a man with priorities, women start wanting to fit into your life, not become the center of it. And that's exactly why boundaries are the next psychological weapon of a man who never chases. 7. They set boundaries. Here's the difference between men who get respected and men who get used. Boundaries. Men who don't chase understand this simple truth. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. They know what they will and won't tolerate. They don't argue about it. They don't explain it. They just live it. When a woman tests them with disrespect, games, or manipulation, they don't raise their voice. They don't plead. They don't fix it. They simply walk away. And that calm withdrawal does something no argument ever could. It forces respect because boundaries show strength. They say, I don't need you to stay. I'm giving you the chance to. And that confidence is intoxicating. But here's where most men fail. They confuse tolerance for kindness. They let things slide just this once. They stay when they should walk. They explain when they should be silent. Boundaries are not about control, they're about self protection. And when you protect your energy, you attract women who respect it, set your standards high, communicate them through your actions, not your mouth. And you'll notice something powerful. People will treat you according to what you allow. And that leads us straight into the final trait, the one that defines all powerful men. 8, they lead. This is where everything comes together because men who don't chase, they lead. They don't wait for permission. They don't ask, what do you want to do? Every 5 minutes, they make decisions, they create direction, they move first. And leadership isn't loud or controlling, it's calm, confident presence. It's the energy that says, follow my lead, I've got this. Women don't chase weak men, they chase direction, purpose, certainty. A man who knows where he's going naturally becomes someone others want to follow. When he walks into a room, people feel his composure. When he speaks, he doesn't try to impress, he expresses. When a woman's around him, she relaxes because leadership creates safety. But here's where most men fail. They confuse leading with dominating. Leadership isn't about control, it's about confidence. You don't demand respect, you embody it. You don't try to be in charge, you simply are. The man who leads doesn't chase because he's already moving towards something greater than her, his purpose. And that's what makes him irresistible. Here's the truth, brother. Men who don't chase aren't cold, emotionless, or arrogant. They're grounded, they're focused, they're disciplined. They've learned that peace is power, silence is strategy, and self-respect is the highest form of attraction. When you master these 8 traits, women stop being the goal and start becoming the reward. So before you chase anyone, ask yourself, am I the kind of man she would chase? Try this. I'll see you in the next one.